In today's video, I am going to take some recent thrift store finds and turn them into artwork. Did you guys hear? Connie from The Painted Photographer has created her own line of rice papers. And guess what? I am a stockist. It's called Connie's Lines and Designs. I am going to have the link featured in the description below so you can see these beautiful papers. But I always hear, I want things for the holidays. I want to create items for the holidays, and the products are just not available yet. You guys, birds are perfect for the holidays. They extend all season long. So I'm going to show you in today's video how to create your very own artwork with the Painted Photographer's papers. Also, think about all the things you guys can do for the up and coming holidays.
For project one, I recently was at the Goodwill bins and I found this beautiful frame. The moment I saw it, you guys, I was like, it reminds me of an old vintage barn. Now, this scrap piece of wood, I actually thrifted a while ago. It was just a long board, and I believe I got that at the bins as well. I cut it down to fit the inside of this frame. Now it was time to pick which bird. You guys, this was a hard decision, but I definitely settled on the one that had turquoise because it is definitely one of my favorite colors. Now, this sheet actually started off with 3 different images, a larger one on top, and then these 2 small ones on bottom, which is perfect for multiple projects, especially for all you makers out there. The first thing that I like to do is when I'm ready to cut my image down, I don't like using a scissors. What I do is I take a paintbrush and just a little cup of water and I trace along where I would normally cut it with the scissors, and then I tear it. Rice paper has the most beautiful fibers inside, and it gives the edges almost like this soft textured look, and I love that look. I don't like that crisp clean line of a cut scissor. Now that I have it all cut, I lay it down and it's absolutely perfect for this. But the first thing that I'm going to do is use White Swan from DIY Paint, and I am going to paint the backside of the rice paper. The reason I do this is it really makes my image pop, and you don't have to do it. I just like the look of it, and I really want that bird to really pop off that white background. The next thing I'm going to do is use the new stamp set called Ephemeral Type. You guys, I love background stamps. I can tell you honestly, I have used Kindest Regards, I have used Le Courier, and now this is my new go-to stamp from IOD. I love all the different fonts, and just adding a little of that to the background of your item just really gives it like a mixed media, just more depth. And that's exactly what I do here. I'm just randomly taking my black ink, which is a permanent ink from IOD, inking up different fonts and then applying it to the piece. Next, it's time to apply the rice paper to the board. And I use the same technique that I do with the recycled decoupage paper. I apply a little bit of liquid patina, which is my go-to decoupage medium, and I then smooth it back. And by creating this starter strip, as I like to call it, it really holds your paper in place and it helps alleviate a lot of the wrinkles. And that definitely applies to the rice paper as well. And then I just work my way down, and then I give the entire piece just one even coat of the liquid patina. Now, I know the entire piece is really rustic feeling, but I felt it needed a little bling. And I have been slightly obsessed with this new IOD transfer called Etiquette. Honestly, you can get so many projects out of this one transfer. And I love how the IOD sisters, when they created it, they have like the bigger pieces where you can use it on a project, but then in between all these really cool different images, they have all these beautiful fonts. And then I have been using those on many projects, like adding just a little bling here or a little bling there, and then hold on to all your scrap pieces. I have yet to do this, but there is a medium out there that you can lay down and then basically use up that backing. So use the rest of the gold up, and it can be almost like a mirrored image. So I haven't tried that yet, but I plan to. For project two, on a recent thrifting mission, I found these two at the bins and I thought they were super cool. I loved the galvanized against the wood. And then these two pieces were tucked in with some books, and I had to repurpose those as well. So they were the perfect size to use as my backing for this project. Now again, I have to figure out which beautiful bird image of Connie's that I wanted to use on this project. I was lucky enough that I have two pictures, so I need to pick out two different birds. So I am using the Oriole for one, and because I used that turquoise one already in another project, I am using the bluebird, and I think these two are going to be absolutely perfect for this project. Recently, when I was at a retreat, another attendee had these beautiful book pages, and she gave me a big chunk of them. And I have been using them in so many different projects, you guys. So if you can find a vintage book that has like that beautiful patina, grab it just to use as like a backing for your mixed media projects. So first, what I'm going to do is I will trace out the size of that wood block, and then I'm going to cut it out, but I am going to cut off just a little bit of excess. That way when I go to decoupage it on to that wood piece, even if there's, it gives me a little wiggle room, I guess, and then you can sand off the excess after it dries. Next, I'm grabbing my liquid patina, which is my go-to decoupage medium, and it is from DIY Paint. I should also say that all the products that I'm using in today's video, you can find on my website at www.sonnetsgardenblooms.com. And just like I do with rice paper or recycled decoupage paper, I put it down exactly where I want it, and then I flip the top back. I add a nice even layer of the liquid patina, and that's really key with any type of medium that you're using, is you want an even layer. You don't want any amounts of like excess where you can kind of see like big brush marks. You just want a nice smooth even layer, and then smooth it out, and then lay down your decoupage paper, or like this, a book page, smooth that out, and then work your way down. And with this paper, initially there were some wrinkles. What I did is I let it dry pretty thoroughly, and there were still some wrinkles, so I went in with my heat gun and I zapped it, and all the wrinkles went away. I've mentioned it before, I definitely prefer using a water method to tear either my decoupage paper or my rice paper. It just gives it a much more beautiful wispy look for both types of papers versus that crisp, clean cut line you get with a scissors. And this was definitely the look I was going for, because I'm going to take these beautiful images and we are going to apply them to that beautiful, vintagey looking paper. I had actually thought about just applying the images as is and have that paper or that print from that book pages kind of pop through. And then I decided, no, I really wanted that image to pop off of that paper. So I am doing a technique that both Royce and Lexi had showed in Decoupaging 101. And that is where you flip your piece of paper over and you apply white to the back. So if you're having a project where you're going to apply a large piece of paper, you can just paint that background white. But because I don't know exactly where I'm going to put this, by painting the back of the rice paper, it gives you the same effect. After it's all dry and now my board is all dry, I am going to line up where I want the bird image to be, and then I'm going to use liquid patina and do the exact same thing. I'm going to apply just a nice even coat, lay it down, and then work my way down. And I do that with both boards, and you guys, I just think this looks so good. One of the last steps to get rid of that excess overhang of those pages, I just take a piece of sandpaper and in a downward motion, I go around and I just sand off any of that excess, and it gives you a nice, crisp, clean edge. For the final step, I am using command strips to hold the board in place. And I just use 4 of them. I figure out exactly where my image is going to be, and then I just keep lining it up, apply the command strips, and then put on the board. And then that way, if at any point I want to change out the image, I can do that very easily by taking off those command strips. For project 3, my daughter actually asked me to go thrifting the other day. I could not pass up the offer, mother and daughter time, and thrifting on top of it. You guys, I found this sign and it caught my eye right away. I loved the look and feel of it, but I did not love the gather. I knew right away I wanted to remove that, and I decided to take my hand sander and sand it off completely. Another thing I found thrifting that same day was this birdhouse. I actually found 2 of them, and somebody had made them, and I thought it fit perfectly right in the center of the sign. And I thought that would be a perfect thing to go with the birdhouse, Connie's papers. And I love how Connie has taken one image and created 3 different papers for us. So one very large image of the bird, another piece that has 2 smaller images and a medium-sized image, and then she also takes that same image and she gives us a bit of mixed media. So in case we don't have like that music paper in the background, she's provided it for for us. So you have the best of both worlds. You can create your own mixed media, or Connie has done it for you. I decided to use one bird image on each side of that beautiful birdhouse. I cut down the top and the bottom to actually fit inside. And now I'm taking the wet method with the paintbrush, and I am just going to do it on both of the edges. I'm just going to trace along and then tear to give it that real wispy look on both sides. Because I had sanded the gather off, I really liked that look of that darker wood that was initially there. I wanted to try to replicate that with the color Weathered Wood from DIY Paint. And initially I was going to just try to dry brush it on. I felt like the actual wood was almost like absorbing the paint very quickly. So what I decided to do was take my misting bottle and mist it. And that is one of the best benefits of using DIY paint, is because it's a clay-based paint. It's really thick and it is very heavily pigmented. So if you do water it down, you can make it go all the farther. And I almost created like a wet wash, or I want to say whitewash, but a dark wash. And you could still see some of that grain of the wood popping through, and that's what I was really going for. While that is drying, I am going to apply a white background to both of the rice papers. And the reason I'm doing this is I really want those images to pop off of that dark background. You can do it one of two ways. You can just apply that either decoupage paper or rice paper directly to your piece. If you want your image to really pop, you want to have a white background. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm painting the backside white to give it that white background and really make it pop. Now that the papers are dry, it's time to apply them to my project. I am using liquid patina, which is definitely my go-to decoupage medium. And you guys, I know I talk about it all the time about how much I love liquid patina, but if once you guys use it, I know you guys will feel the same exact way. So I am doing that starter strip. I am laying down the paper, working my way down, and I do that that to both sides. The other thing liquid patina can be used for is a top coat. So I apply liquid patina to the entire piece, sealing the DIY paint as well. And if you want more of like a matte look, you'll want to go with liquid patina because Big Top has a little bit of a sheen to it or a little shine. And the other thing is you want this to be completely dry before you move on to the next step. Now that I let this dry overnight, it's time to apply the transfer that I chose, Rose Botanicals. You guys, this has been one of my new favorite transfers. It is just packed full of beautiful rose images. And earlier I talked about having your project be completely dry. If you are going to apply a transfer to anything that you've top coated, the key is you want your project to be completely dry before you apply your transfer. Now, this transfer set is just jam-packed full of beautiful botanicals, and I thought it would look amazing on each side. So initially I was going to use some of the smaller images. I decided to go with some of these bigger roses, and I decided for the yellow on the left, and then there's like a pinkish red one for the right. And the cool thing about transfers is you don't have to use them just as is. You can cut chunks of them off, you can layer them, and that's exactly what I do here. I cut off like a rosebud and then reattach it later. I wanted to fit a little differently, so I cut off a chunk of the bottom, and it just all fits perfectly once I do that. And I do the exact same thing for the other side as well. Anytime you're using transfers, you would need to seal them. I'm using Big Top from DIY. It is their top coat. I'm applying one even coat of Big Top to the entire piece. I'm going to let it dry, and then we're going to do the final step to bring this project all together. I'm using my brad nailer, and I am going to brad nail this birdhouse onto the front of the sign. And it's really as easy. I'm putting, actually I do 3 brad nails on the bottom and 3 brad nails on the top to really hold it into place.
I hope you've enjoyed today's video and are absolutely inspired by Connie's amazing rice papers. Those birds, you guys, they are absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to see how each and every one of you use those in your holiday decor. I think they're going to be absolutely perfect for that. You can find all the rice papers on my website. I currently have the birds out there. I will be carrying Connie's entire line of rice papers. I am picking those up tomorrow from her, and I will list them on my website as soon as possible. Now, another piece of exciting news. For those of you that have been wanting in on my membership group, I am officially opening the doors of my membership tomorrow. If you do want more information about that, definitely send me an email over at info@sonnetsgardenblooms.com. I will shoot you back an email with all the details. But yes, it is going to be open for 2 full weeks. I was going to do just 1 week, but coming off the Maker's Box launch, where I was adding additional spots for the Maker's Box, I'm like, oh my gosh, way to cram a lot into a short amount of time. So I just closed the Maker's Box on the 1st, and then I'm opening up my membership group. I only open up my membership group twice a year, so leaving it open for 2 weeks to give everybody ample time to find out that it is open. And if you want any more information on it, I will shoot you over an email. All right, Friday's video, you guys, I went on a thrift haul and just a little thrifting adventure, you know, squeeze that in. Again, with everything else that's going on in my life, I just needed some thrifting therapy. So I am taking you guys along for just a little glimpse of the thrifting part, but I will show you everything I found. I am actually heading up north tomorrow, so you guys are going to get this video today, and I am heading up north for the rest of the week, spending it at the cabin. One last hoorah before, you know, like the busy season starts, and then we'll be winterizing our cabin. Coming back on Monday though, and I will have a really great video for you guys on Monday. And then that following Friday is Friday the 13th, and we are doing the live unboxing. So you guys are going to get the full playlist of creatives that have used the Maker's Box. So I'm super excited about that as well. So if you guys did enjoy today's video, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to my channel if you're loving it. And in the comments, let me know which one of Connie's birds was your absolute favorite. All right, guys, you have yourselves a great week, and we'll see you on Friday. Bye.